I, 29M, am still trying to wrap my head around the sheer audacity. 3 weeks ago, my life felt stable, predictable. My girlfriend of 2 years, Amanda, 27F, and I were talking about moving in together. We'd looked at a few places, discussed finances, the whole deal. I thought we were on the same page, heading toward a serious future. Then last Tuesday, my phone lit up with a text that felt like a grenade lobbed into my life plans. Amanda, hey, we need to talk. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and before we take a big step like moving in, I feel like I need to explore other options. I need to be sure. I hope you understand. I stared at the screen for a solid 5 minutes. Explore other options. It's such a clinical, detached phrase. A corporate speak way of saying, I want to date other people while keeping you on the back burner. The hope you understand part was the real kicker. Understand what? That I'm supposed to pause my life and wait patiently while she plays the field? Hurt. Yeah, for a minute. But it was quickly overshadowed by a weird sense of calm. The disrespect was so blatant, it was almost clarifying. She wasn't asking for a break. She was asking for a hall pass she didn't intend to reciprocate. My reply was simple. Explore away. What she didn't know was that her best friend, Laura, 27F, had been a recurring character in my DMs for months. It started innocently enough, reacting to my stories, asking about my hobbies. But over time, the conversations got longer, deeper. She'd vent about her own dating frustrations, and, subtly, she started pointing out the ways Amanda took me for granted. Laura, she's lucky to have someone so patient. Laura, did she even thank you for planning that whole weekend? You did everything. I'd always kept a polite distance, chalking it up to her being a supportive friend. But after Amanda's text, Laura's messages looked different. It looked like an open door. So I walked through it. Me to Laura, hey, random question. Are you free for dinner Friday? Her reply was almost instantaneous. Laura, I thought you'd never ask. Yes, absolutely. I didn't do it for revenge, not at first. I did it because Amanda had just told me our relationship was an option, not a commitment. She set the new rules. Fine. I decided to explore an option that had been presenting itself for a while. An option that actually seemed excited about me. The date with Laura was easy. The easiest date I've ever been on. We talked for hours. The chemistry that had been simmering over text was undeniable in person. We ended the night with a kiss that felt more real than anything I'd felt with Amanda in the last 6 months. We spent the whole weekend together. It was a blur of good food, long walks, and intense conversation. It felt less like a first date and more like a homecoming. The exploring ex-girlfriend, Amanda, was silent. I assumed she was busy with her own market research. I didn't reach out. I respected her wishes, after all. She needed to explore. Then, this past Monday, about a week after her text, my phone blew up. It was a screenshot from Laura's Instagram story. A picture of the two of us at a brewery, smiling. My arm was around her. The caption was simple. Well, this is nice. The text accompanying the screenshot was from Amanda. Amanda. Followed by, Amanda, what is this? Are you with Laura? And then, Amanda, call me. Now. The panic was palpable through the screen. The explorer had returned from her expedition to find her home base had been decommissioned. I let her stew for an hour before I replied. Me, you said you were exploring options. I decided to do the same. Laura was an option who actually wanted to be with me. Her response was a frantic, rambling voice note. Accusations, confusion, betrayal. She couldn't understand how I could do this. How Laura could do this. She was supposed to be her best friend. I was supposed to be her boyfriend, waiting for her to make up her mind. The entitlement was breathtaking. She genuinely believed she could put our entire relationship on hold, treat me like a backup plan, and I would just wait. Now she's demanding I end it with Laura, that we talk things through. She's done exploring, she says. She's sure now. Too bad the position has been filled. I told her as much. The fallout has been immediate and messy. This is just the beginning. Update 1 week later. Well, the past week has been a masterclass in entitlement and attempted manipulation. After I told Amanda the option she was exploring had been permanently filled, the situation escalated exactly as you'd expect. The first move was a direct assault. Amanda showed up at my apartment unannounced on Tuesday night. I was cooking dinner with Laura, the first time she'd stayed over on a weeknight. The doorbell rang, and I saw her on the security camera. I almost didn't answer, but Laura, bless her logical heart, said, "Get it over with. Don't let her think she can control your space by lurking outside." I opened the door, with Laura standing a few feet behind me, visible. Amanda's eyes flickered from me to Laura, and her face curdled. "Amanda, what is she doing here? An hour in my future home." The sheer nerve. We'd looked at places, yes, but we hadn't signed anything. "Me, it's my apartment, Amanda. And Laura is my girlfriend. You gave up your say in who comes over when you texted me. You were going exploring it." "Amanda," her voice rising, "it was a week. I needed a week. You were supposed to give me space, not replace me with my best friend." Laura, stepping forward, calm and firm, "It didn't replace you, Amanda. You discarded him. You told him he was an option, and he decided he deserved to be a priority. I've been making him my priority for a while now." The look of betrayal on Amanda's face was directed entirely at Laura. It was fascinating. She wasn't mad at me for moving on. She was furious that her best friend had outmaneuvered her. "Amanda, you snake. You were my friend. You listened to me talk about him for years." "Laura, I did. And I listened to you talk about how you were getting bored. How you wanted to see what else was out there. How you met a guy at your yoga class you wanted to try out. Don't pretend this came out of nowhere. You just didn't expect to have any consequences." That shut Amanda up for a second. The mention of the yoga guy, a detail she'd obviously omitted from her sob story, visibly shook her. She stammered, then defaulted to demanding her things. She left a few boxes of stuff at my place in anticipation of our move. "Me, fine. Text me a time. I'll leave him outside for you. You're not coming in." She left, fuming. The next day, the smear campaign began. Mutual friends started texting me. "Dude, Amanda is a wreck. Said you dumped her out of nowhere for her best friend. That's cold, man. She just needed a little space." I sent the same reply to everyone. A screenshot of her original text. No commentary. Just the, "I need to explore other options" line. For most, that was enough. They got it. But her core group of enablers went on the offensive. Then came the dirty tricks. I got a call from the leasing office of an apartment complex Amanda and I had toured. Apparently, someone matching her description had called them, claiming to be my fiancé and wanting to finalize the application we had supposedly started. They needed my social security number and financial details to get the paperwork rolling. Thankfully, the leasing agent was sharp and found the request suspicious, calling me to verify. It was a transparent, clumsy attempt to either mess with my finances or create a fraudulent paper trail linking us together. The entitlement is just astounding. They genuinely believe they can bully, manipulate, and lie their way back to the comfortable setup Amanda so casually detonated. She doesn't feel guilty. She feels robbed of a safety net she thought was guaranteed. Laura and I are solid. If anything, this has been a trial by fire that's only made us closer. We're a team. Amanda wanted to explore? She's discovering a whole new world of consequences she never imagined. And I'm just getting started. Update 2, 3 weeks later. The escalation has been both predictable and pathetic. After the failed attempt to fish my financial info, Amanda and her crew realized that direct, clumsy attacks weren't working. So they moved on to emotional warfare and trying to sabotage my life from the sidelines. The main antagonist in this act has been Amanda's older sister, Sharon, 32F. She's always acted like Amanda's personal attack dog, and she took to her role with relish. She started by leaving me a series of increasingly unhinged voicemails. I saved them all. The real escalation came last week. I work in project management for a mid-sized tech company. It's a good job, but one where reputation and professionalism are key. On Monday, I was called into a meeting with my director and an HR representative. My stomach dropped. They had received an anonymous email. It was a carefully crafted piece of work, accusing me of erratic behavior and emotional instability. It claimed I was using company time to harass my ex-girlfriend and that my judgment had become compromised. It was full of corporate buzzwords designed to trigger an HR investigation. I went cold. This was a direct shot at my livelihood. Thankfully, my director has known me for 5 years. He looked more annoyed than concerned. While HR wouldn't give me a copy of the email, my director, who trusts me, privately read me the key phrases. The wording had Sharon's melodramatic style all over it. I calmly explained the situation, and the matter was dropped internally, but it was a clear warning. They were willing to cross serious lines. This was the final straw. They had moved from pathetic pleading to active sabotage. My desire for a quiet life was replaced by a need for a definitive end to this. The revenge couldn't just be me moving on anymore. It had to be a meticulously executed checkmate, and I knew exactly how to do it. Amanda's family, especially her parents, are very concerned with appearances. They belong to a swanky country club, and every year they host a big, catered party for their anniversary. It's a major social event for their circle. I knew it was coming up. An invitation arrived, a formal, embossed card. It was clearly from a prearranged list sent out months ago. My first instinct was to toss it. My second was to text Amanda and ask why on earth I'd received it. Amanda's reply was dripping with smugness. Mom and Dad are too polite to disinvite someone. Besides, I told them you wouldn't dare show up. It would be too humiliating for you. Her arrogance was a gift. She was so sure I'd be cowed into staying away. She was laying a trap for herself. I RSVP'd yes for 2. Laura was immediately on board. "Oh, this is going to be epic," she said, a wicked glint in her eye. Over the next 2 weeks, we prepared. Laura forwarded me the DMs where Amanda had talked about Yoga Guy. I compiled everything. Amanda's first text, her panicked texts, Sharon's voicemail transcripts, the key phrases from the HR email, the Yoga Guy DMs. I uploaded it all to a private, password-protected webpage with a simple, clean interface. The evidence was undeniable and time-stamped. The plan was no longer about a big, dramatic scene. It was about a quiet, targeted strike. Final update, 6 months later, revised. It's been 6 months since I sent that RSVP. The anniversary party was 4 months ago, and its fallout was more satisfying than I could have ever imagined. My life has been blessedly silent and drama-free ever since. Here's how it all went down. Laura and I arrived at the country club looking like a power couple. We walked in, and the sight of us together caused a ripple of quiet murmurs. Amanda, standing with her parents, went pale. She genuinely never thought we'd come. Her mother shot us a look of pure venom, but her father, a man who lives by etiquette, gave a stiff nod. They were trapped by their own standards of politeness. We spent the first hour mingling. We were polite, charming, and completely ignored the host family. Our target was not Amanda, but her father's business partner, a man named Mr. Scott, who I knew to be the biggest and most respected gossip in their social circle. After the toasts, I saw my opportunity. I approached Amanda's father and Mr. Scott as they were talking by the bar. "Gentlemen," I said calmly. "Mr. Brandon," addressing Amanda's father, "I just wanted to thank you for your hospitality, and I feel I owe you an explanation for my presence here tonight with Laura, as I know it may seem awkward." Amanda's dad looked like he wanted to be anywhere else on earth. "You see," I continued, looking at them both, "there's been a bit of a narrative circulating about my breakup with Amanda. I've been painted as the villain. I was even accused of harassment in a complaint sent to my employer." Mr. Scott's eyebrows shot up. This was juicy. "I found it's always best to let the facts speak for themselves," I said. I pulled out my phone. I put together a simple timeline of the events. It clarifies things. I showed them the webpage on my phone. I didn't make a scene. I just held it out. They both leaned in. I scrolled slowly. Amanda's Explore Other Options text. The DMs about the yoga instructor. The transcript of Sharon's unhinged voicemail. The details of the anonymous HR complaint. I didn't need to say another word. I saw the understanding dawn on Mr. Scott's face, quickly followed by a look of sheer, delicious pity directed at Amanda's father. The family's perfect image was crumbling in the palm of my hand. "Just want to clear the air," I said, putting my phone away. "Enjoy the rest of your evening." I walked away and rejoined Laura. We didn't stay much longer. We didn't need to. The bomb had been planted. The fallout was quiet but total. Mr. Scott, as predicted, let the story spread like wildfire, but it was now the true story. The narrative was no longer mine versus hers. It was her family's desperate, malicious actions versus the cold, hard evidence. We heard through the grapevine that Amanda's parents were mortified, not at what Amanda and Sharon did, but that they were caught so publicly. The family's reputation took a massive hit. Last we heard, Amanda had to take a job in another city. The public humiliation and the silent judgment of her parents' social circle became too much. Her relationship with her parents is apparently strained, as they blame her for the disgrace. Laura and I just signed a lease on a new apartment together. That chapter is closed. The best revenge wasn't a loud explosion. It was a quiet, precise strike that dismantled a narrative of lies with an undeniable presentation of the truth. She faced the direct, unavoidable consequences of her own choices, and her entitlement couldn't shield her.